Can you all hear me okay and see the screen?
Yes, we can hear you and see your screen.
Excellent. Okay, so I'll get going. I did put the link to this Google Slides deck in the chat. And side note, I learned a lot about accessibility in documentation recently and really got to learn and like Grackle. So props to that plugin. All right, so we're going to talk about EasyChirp, a history of an accessible web-based Twitter app, which I'd like. Well, actually, somebody I think on Twitter said set the standard for social media accessibility. You can follow EasyChirp on Twitter at EasyChirp, and you can follow me at Dennis L on Twitter. I'm pretty active on Twitter for many years now. So I am Dennis Lumbry. I'm the Director of Accessibility at Diamond Digital Agency. Previously, 5 years at DQ Systems. I was on the accessibility teams at eBay and PayPal for 4 or 5 years before that. I worked at other companies such as BlackBerry and Ford and contracted at Ford and Google. I'm also the author of WebAx, which is a long-time blog, used to be podcast, and pretty well-known Twitter account. WebAx, WEBAXE on Twitter. So, quick agenda: an intro to EasyChirp, some accolades, how it was built, innovations of EasyChirp, some feel-good tweets about EasyChirp, some fun facts, a few tips for tweet accessibility, and then maybe we'll have some time for a couple questions, and there are some resources at the end of the deck. So, an intro to EasyChirp, and you can find it at easychirp.com. It did go down for a few minutes yesterday due to my ISP, but it's back up. So just a small scare. Wasn't down for too long, but you know, stuff happens. Okay, so back in the day, Twitter was not accessible for a long time. The web Twitter application had pretty bad accessibility. So let's go back to around the days of like 2008, early 2009. Things like favoriting a tweet, reply, and retweet, those controls were not keyboard accessible at all. There was a poor use of headings, form fields were missing labels, the layout width was static. There was unclear link text, such as click here, forgot. The text links had the underline removed, the sidebar navigation was inconsistent, the core functionality, as it still does today, requires JavaScript. Color contrast was not good. It was literally out of control because the user could do like whatever they wanted. And EasyChirp was born. Well, actually, it was called Accessible Twitter. In early 2009, actually, as the story goes, my family was away for a few weeks visiting other family. So I plopped down, a coworker gave me the idea, hey, Dennis, if Twitter is not accessible, and use the API and make it accessible. And I said, okay. And it was named Accessible Twitter. And I presented it at Open Web Camp, the first Open Web Camp at Stanford in September 2009, and then at Accessing Higher Ground, and then in the following CSUN. And there was it got, you know, good notice in the community, and many articles soon written about it. And here's a screenshot of the original interface. It looks similar today, but this is the original face. It's a little clunky, a little messier. But some high-level goals of the app was, you know, obviously make Twitter accessible, to make it usable, to make it robust, to make it fully featured, and to support, you know, all kinds of users, screen reader users, low vision users, older users, new Twitter users, users of older technology, and the no JavaScript use case. So I got a lot of good positive feedback from users. Here are some quotes from tweets. Love this, so clear and easy. Hashtag dyslexia. Really easy with a braille display to use. Liking it more than twitter.com, cleaner, easier, fun. You can easily navigate by several methods, skip links, form fields, headings, very effective with the screen reader. And a couple others. So here's kind of the timeline of EasyChirp. So like I mentioned, it was created early 2009, like early February. A couple years later, I changed the name to EasyChirp. Twitter actually didn't get on me about using Twitter in the name of the app, which was a rule you're not supposed to do. But I changed it anyway, just to make it, to follow that rule and to give it like a nicer, more universal kind of name. The Twitter API in 2013 actually shut down the first Twitter API 1.0, and I actually did a Kickstarter and got a little bit of funding, and created a brand new version number 2, which was released several months later in October 2013. It looked fairly similar, structured similarly, but there were a lot of subtle changes. And then, let's see, the following year, I added a method to provide alt text for an image in a tweet, which was the first social media app ever to do that. In 2018, again, the Twitter API had some bad news. They completely changed the direct messaging, the DM portion of the API, and so that pretty much broke the direct messaging of EasyChirp. And last November, I announced that the EasyChirp is no longer going to be maintained. So everybody asked me why end of lifing it. Well, there's a few reasons besides being a busy guy. The back end over the years, has gotten a little outdated and complex. I wasn't the original author of the back end. I had a partner for EasyChirp too. It was difficult to keep up with the Twitter features, all the crazy features that they dream up, and the API instability and changes. So I mentioned the DM, but also right now, actually, the authentication is having a problem on Chrome. So if you go to easychirp.com, you probably have to try it on another browser to authenticate. So Firefox, Opera, Safari seem to work totally fine. And another reason is, I must admit, Twitter accessibility is improving. It's improved a lot over the years. And it's decent, although not perfect now. And then on the screen, I'm showing the tweet last November 15th from EasyChirp, where I announced it's no longer being maintained. But some of the core features of EasyChirp, are the core like Twitter features, right? Your main timeline, the chronological timeline. You can see your mentions, favorites, retweets, search, editing your profile, muting users, lists, has full list support, viewing account details, etc. And what EasyChirp is not, there's no auto updating timeline that'll mess up where you are. There's no infinite scroll. There are no ads. You won't see strangers in your timeline. There's no suggested tweets. There's no suggested accounts to follow. No automated playing GIFs or video. No audio tweets. No fleets. No moments, which to me is a good thing. Here's a screenshot of the current easychirp.com UI, which is similar to the original. Like I said, it's just a little cleaner and yeah, serves its purpose. So some accolades for the app. Some awards. In 2014, it won the FCC Chairman's Award for Advancement in Accessibility. So that was really cool. Whoops. 2011, a few years before that, it won the American Foundation for the Blind 2011 Access Award. And earlier on in 2009, it won the Access IT Web 2.0 Award, endorsed by the International Webmasters Association. It was also nominated for the 2010 Best of the Web Awards, nominated in Blind Bargains 2009 and 10 awards. It was the R&B featured website in December 2011. And as the book mentioned yesterday by Sarah Horton, it was actually mentioned in her book, a Web for Everyone, Designing Accessible User Experiences. And it was mentioned in the Twitter book by O'Reilly. And a fun surprise in 2010 is actually got a mention from Alyssa Milano, which was really cool. So how it was built, well, I built the front end of both apps, Accessible Twitter, EasyChirp, and EasyChirp 2 in the back end of the original version. Andrew Woods, a fine PHP developer, he set up the back end for EasyChirp 2. The alt text feature was brainstormed by myself and the great Mark Sadecki. And thank you, Dirk Gnader, who hosted and still hosts the EasyChirp 2 code on GitHub. And it's now public. So last November, I did ask him to make it public so anybody can fork or use that code. Some dev techniques in building EasyChirp. Well, the usual accessibility goodness, keyboard support, heading structure, focus management, sufficient color contrast, form labels. It has great support for text and screen zooming, consistent layouts, accessible data tables, no animations by default, skip to main, blah, blah, blah. Also, though, there's, the URLs I think are pretty friendly. Uses, of course, semantic HTML, CSS, no JavaScript framework. This was written before JavaScript frameworks, which I don't like anyway, got popular. jQuery, though, is used. The jQuery library is used in EasyChirp. No CSS framework. And for the icons, they are font icons. At the time, I was questioning whether I should use font icons or SVG icons. I went with font icons, although in hindsight, I probably should have used SVG. And there's an article about this from the 24A11Y series a few years ago. And the back end is PHP, the CodeIgniter framework. Design techniques, it really uses a form follow functions philosophy. There were no designers on the project, just myself and Andrew Woods. So there's no gray on gray text. There's no infinite scrolling. There are no floating labels, no parallax effects. Sorry, no scroll jacking. Sorry, no carousels. Sorry, no large image file sizes. And sorry, no auto-playing audio or video. And I'm, being facetious when I say sorry. The secret sauce, semantic HTML, really is part of the secret sauce of EasyChirp and what makes it so wonderful. Responsive web design, but the big one probably is progressive enhancement. And there was a tweet a while ago, or a couple months ago, do you yet have a plan on how long EasyChirp will still be accessible? Meaning, will it still be available? It is the only solution, this person says, that works on older devices, unfortunately. A few innovations of EasyChirp. It's a first accessible Twitter application. It demonstrated that accessibility can happen in social media and progressive enhancement can be accomplished. The app is fully functional with no JavaScript. It's the first social media app to provide a solution for alt text. Did it 2 years before Twitter. It's the only app to expose, to this day, it's the only app that I know of that exposes the Twitter alt text to all users if you're using Twitter to enter that alt text. It's an early provider of dark mode, and it supports screen readers, of course, but also really works well with Braille output devices. It works with the first generation Kindle, even text browsers like Lynx. So here's a tweet. Excuse me. Here's a screenshot of a tweet on EasyChirp showing an image with a description, and you can view any user can view that image description, which may help any user. Dark mode is old news. Oh, somebody tweeted about Facebook implementing dark mode recently, and I said, I implemented that in EasyChirp over 7 years ago. A few feel-good tweets. I got when I marked that it was no longer going to be maintained, I got a great tweet from Mike Paciello. Thanks, Dennis, for your great and monumental accomplishment with EasyChirp. You established an accessibility standard of quality that we all appreciate. And there are a few more, but in the interest of time, I'm going to move on. You can also read more at twitter.com/easychirp/likes, where I favorited a lot of those. Some fun facts. EasyChirp was mentioned in 3 books. It was cited in some W3C ATAG and Longdesk documentation for support. EasyChirp 2 supports 6 languages, including Arabic and Portuguese. Pick a couple more here. It has a Wikipedia page. Oh, and this is a fun one. EasyChirp 2, I pressed the magic button to launch it from the haunted Stanley Hotel in the Rocky Mountains during the 2013 CSS DevConf. That was a great conference. Tips for a tweet accessibility. Use simple language, active voice, avoid jargon. Always provide a text alternative for images one way or another. Ensure sufficient color contrast of text, particularly in images that you tweet. Write hashtags in camel case and put, most of them, hopefully not too many, at the end of your tweet. Use emojis sparingly. Provide or link to media with captions, audio descriptions, and transcripts as needed. Provide warning for flashing, disorienting animation, etc. Thank you.
Thanks, Dennis. We do have a question in the Q&A. What tool did you use to make your slide deck accessible? I have used the accessibility checker in MS PPT, but wanted to know if you were using another tool.
Yes, Grackle. For a great plugin that I've used for Google Docs and Google Slides recently. Unfortunately, Google doesn't provide a couple things that Grackle does, and there is a small fee for Grackle, but fortunately, my employer, Diamond, picks that up. I went pretty fast. In the interest of time, maybe people are in shock, don't have questions quite yet, but you could always hit me up on Twitter for any questions.
Yeah, we'll keep an eye out in the chat and the Q&A and of course Slack to see if they have any questions for you. Dennis, we appreciate it.
All right, you got it. Thanks for having
me. What are you doing next or now?
Now or next? Well, in the last year, I took up a director role in accessibility. So that's been, taking up most of my time recently. I've also kind of revamped or rebooted my speaking engagements. So the last couple of years, I've kind of been taking it easy, but this year I'm ramping up. So I'll be doing a lot of presenting this year on a variety of topics, from ARIA to inclusive design, etc. So look for me at other events this year.
Excellent. Thanks, Dennis. I think that's all we have for now.
All right. Thank you.